What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into the Queen's Lounge podcast. I am your homegirl, Shay. And of course, I have another dope interview today with none other than Miss Travette Daniel. So I'm going to bring her in, let her introduce herself, let us know who she is. Ma'am, please introduce yourself and let the people know who you are.
Hey guys, so my name is Travette Daniel. I'm a first year medical student at Chicago Medical School. I am from East St. Louis, but I live in Chicago. I'm married. My husband's in law school. All the things. Y'all gonna hear about it throughout the
All the good
podcast.
stuff, all
Okay.
the good stuff. We're gonna dive into it a little bit more because what I'm hearing right now is power couple. Okay,
Uh,
that's what I'm hearing right now. I'm hearing all the good stuff that's leading
all
into
the
a
good
power
stuff.
couple. And what I love about it is not only are y'all melanated, okay, but one thing I
Okay.
love about it is not your typical jobs. It's not the basketball players. It's not the music industry. It's getting into really good, influential. How can I say influential careers,
Yes.
lawyers, and soon to be doctors. So it's amazing. It's definitely an inspiration. So listen, let's start from the beginning. Okay.
Okay.
High school graduate, all that good stuff. So where did it start with your credentials leading up to medical school?
Okay. So I feel like I've been in school all my life. I feel like I'm still about to be in school all my life. But yeah, so I got a bachelor's in chemistry and Spanish. So I do speak Spanish fluently. I just got the degree.
Wow.
Um,
That's
so
amazing.
I
I never knew
did
that.
that. Yeah, a lot of people are very surprised when they
That's
hear me.
amazing.
But yeah, so I did that, got my bachelor's degree. My hope was to just take a gap year after college, get into
Mm-hmm.
medical school. Gap year turned into a decade, literally.
Wow.
I graduated undergrad in 2012 and I just started medical school in 2022. And so the thing is, I've always known I wanted to be a doctor, right? Like
Uh-huh.
all my life, like this is what I want to do. And so after taking the gap year, I started applying to medical school and getting denied. Like I probably I think I have applied to 5 cycles. And
Wow.
anyone who knows anything about applying to medical school, it is such an arduous, laborious, stressful, daunting
I bet.
process. So
I bet it
it's
is.
been yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a long journey, but I'm here. I've learned a lot on my journey. Anybody wants some advice? I got it for you because I've done a lot in the past 2 years before getting
Yes.
into medical school. So yeah, I'm a first year medical student.
That's such an amazing milestone to reach, though. You know what I mean? Because, of course,
Yeah.
life happens and there's so many obstacles and things that we go through to try to get to the journey that we want to go on. But the fact that you kept going is a
Yeah.
testament in itself because you already knew where you wanted to be, where you wanted to go, and the drive. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Even
Yeah.
after, feeling like you were dormant for a while, the
Girl,
fact that you still
listen.
had to drive to still want to do it after that long. Because listen, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be honest with you. You know what? I'm gonna just go with a different career path because this ain't working out.
Yeah.
You know
You
what I
know
mean?
what? I thought like I would pray and I would be like, Lord, is this for me? Because I'm not
Yeah.
here for another process.
Right.
But the thing about that is I really felt like this is where the Lord called me to. And so
Hmm.
as hard as it was, as deflating as all the denials was, year after year, I still felt like I would not be fulfilling my God given purpose if I didn't go after it, right? And I have to like shout out my best friend, shout out my husband, shout out my support
Yes.
system for still pushing
Yes.
me. Like, girl, you still gonna do it, you still gonna do
Absolutely.
it. But just in the midst, like I have a lot of talents, I can do something else, but every time the Lord will bring me back to it. So came back
Yes.
every time.
So we're gonna stay right there for a second, okay? Because I don't know if, and just by hearing what you just said, I know that this applies to you as well. But isn't it
Hmm.
something how when there is such a calling on your life, or when there is
Yeah.
such a pull, and you know exactly where it's coming from, where it
Yep.
doesn't sit right with you until you fulfill it,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then
And
no
that's
matter
how,
what you try to do,
no
what
matter
direction
what.
you try to go, all the other careers you try to pursue, it's just something about that one thing that you know you're destined to do because it just will
Yeah.
not let you go
Yep.
at
And I
all.
and to that point, like I have done some like really like just fulfilling things. Like I worked with undocumented, unaccompanied minors. I've worked
Mm-hmm.
as an anesthesia tech in surgery. I worked at CVS corporate. I've done so many things that are so meaningful where I've learned so much stuff. And year or two in, I'm like, this ain't it. There's
Yeah.
more. Like the Lord has called me to more and I gotta get back to it.
Absolutely. And I know oftentimes, and I can't speak for you, but I can definitely speak for me, it's oftentimes being the age that I am and trying to pursue something that can be as something that's longevity or takes a long time to achieve can be
Yeah.
discouraging. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Especially when you already have in your mind, high school, college, I'm gonna hit it, I'm gonna be done. So by the time I'm 30, I can enjoy and flourish in my career. And
Yeah.
then when life happens, it has a way of making you self-doubt.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Making you feel as if, okay, maybe I need to second guess this thing
Mm-hmm.
because it didn't go
That
the way that I wanted it to go. Here I am at this age. So what I'm gonna do when,
mm-hmm.
my age ain't gonna
Yeah.
stop. It's gonna keep going. You know
Listen,
what I mean?
listen. But you know what? For me, I feel like that's why it's important to have a relationship with the Lord, right?
Yes.
Because when you're grounded and you know like that the Lord is calling you somewhere, it's like it's going to be taken care of. Because mind you, I'm a decade older than probably 90% of my cohort, my classmates. Like
Wow.
they're all fresh out of college, 23,
Uh-huh.
24 years old. But for me, I'm like, it doesn't matter. The Lord called me to this. It's going to be great. And
That's it.
as far as what I pursue, so medical school is 4 years, right? But then there's another 4 to 5 years depending on what I do. I do have a couple
Uh-huh.
of interests as far as where I want to specialize as a doctor. So that's still like what another 8 to 10 years.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's like if the Lord called you, go do it. It doesn't
That's
matter.
it.
And so I just want to say, because I feel like so many people are burdened by the fact that they are older, that I can't do this, I won't do this. One
Mm-hmm.
of my friends was even like, dang, you still gonna try to do another 8 years? I'm like, why not? I'm going to be
Yeah.
somewhere in 8 years. I
I
might
know
as
that's
well be
right.
where I want to be.
I
You know
know that's right.
what I mean? So,
Yes, absolutely. Having a good support system is definitely a plus. Knowing exactly what you want to do, having the drive to be able to do it is another
yeah,
plus. Not letting the intimidation of the peers, you know what I mean, or your
for sure.
classmates
hmm
making you feel like you can't do this. Nah, I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna do it with you. Okay, I'm
Okay,
gonna get in here and we're gonna knock it
100%.
out. Period. Okay, so I know you mentioned that you've been in school for a year. Have you completed your first year or are you still doing your first year?
So I'm still in my first year. We're on a
Okay.
quarter system, so we got about 3 months left. We finish in
Okay.
May, so I will officially be done with my first year, May 19th. That's my final. Looking
Come
forward to
on, May
it.
19th. Yay.
Okay.
Ooh, that's gonna be a glorious day because I'm gonna shout. I'm gonna shout with you.
Girl, we gonna shop together.
Okay, I'm gonna shout with you. Because looking at the finish line and knowing that you came this far to get to that specific date, and then just wait
Yeah.
till you graduate,
Yeah. Oh, it's
then
gonna be lit.
it's really gonna be something. Okay, so my next question is, what are some challenges while attending medical school?
Hmm. I would say the biggest challenge attending medical school is being able to take such a large amount of information and be able to apply it in a little bit of time.
Woo.
For instance, so I've been telling people because people are like, okay, it's hard, but what's hard about it, right? So here's a juxtaposition, if you will. So in undergrad, I took biochemistry, I took
Mm-hmm.
advanced cell bio, right? So in medical school, those two classes for one semester are combined as one class. And you are
Ooh,
required to
wee.
learn all of that information in about 10 weeks. Do well on the
Wow.
exams and pass the class. Um,
Wow.
and we start off with at 27 credit hours, like the whole class, right? So that's just
Ooh,
one class that you
that's a
have to
lot.
learn that much information in that, small amount of time. Um, so I would say that's the biggest challenge. I think another thing for me is the fact that I am married. I'm not
Uh-huh.
23 or 24. My husband and I own property. So I still have life stuff. Plus I don't
Yes.
live on campus. I have a commute to school. So for me it's kind of some logistical things, but I feel like any med student you talk to is gonna be like having to grasp this large, copious amount of information, be able to
Uh-huh.
understand it, apply it on an exam, do well on the exam so you can keep moving to the next class. So that's what it is.
Ooh, you said a mouthful.
Yeah.
You said a mouthful. That's a lot. Now, is there
Yeah.
anything that you learn in that one class that carries over to the next class where you gotta kind of, you
Yeah.
know?
So, and that's the good thing, right? So they set us up with the scientific foundations of medicine. So some stuff you learned in undergrad, but way more in depth. At
Mm-hmm.
my school in particular, we started off with our foundational classes, then we went to anatomy. And so learning, having a background of all of those things, they apply to everything you're doing. So
Okay.
my final last week, we just finished GI. So the gastrointestinal system, talking about the pancreas, the duodenum, the stomach, all of that. And so because we've taken anatomy already, because we've taken biochemistry, we should be able to understand how these functions, the liver functions, all of that. And now we're just getting a more in-depth aspect of how these different systems work. So
Ooh, do you
yeah.
ever find any of your classes more challenging than the others?
Yeah, I feel like yeah, it just depends on what the subject is. I feel like it
Mm-hmm.
depends on what else is going on. I feel like GI was a lot because, for instance, when we take exams, what our exams look like, a patient presents to your clinic, they're vomiting, nauseous, stomach pain,
Mm-hmm.
blood is in their vomit, something like that. And so there could be 1,000 reasons why this is happening to that person. So you have to remember 18 different viruses it could be, what type of bacteria it is, what else
Ooh,
did the patient say, and so you just have to think very critically.
yes.
And there are so many things when it comes to this system, the GI system in particular, that I feel like that was probably one of the more challenging ones.
Okay. So knowing
Yeah.
a little bit about you in the beginning, kind of opening up
Hmm.
about the jobs that you've had that kind of led you to want to be, in the medical field, and what other jobs did you work that prepared you and kind of helped add to
Um,
making it a little easier to do medical school? Because I feel like your whole
so
resume is just healthcare.
So, I mean, it's not completely healthcare, but you know what? I honestly feel like nothing prepares you for medical school. Like, I
Okay.
worked in the hospital. I was like an office manager for physical and occupational therapy. I was an anesthesia technician. And I know, some drugs come up. I'm like, oh, we used to use this drug. So I know that's an
Mm-hmm.
anesthetic, or I know that that is anti-nausea medicine or something like that. But I don't feel like I've done anything to prepare me for so let me take a step back. So there are basically two phases to medical school. For
Uh-huh.
these first 2 years, I'm strictly in classes, strictly taking exams. And after I finish my second year, I take my first big board examination. That's called step one.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I go into clinical rotation. So then I'm no longer in any classes. I'm applying in real time all the things that I've learned for these 2 years, right?
Wow.
So the stuff that I have learned previously, I think it will help me and be beneficial once I get to the third year. But as far as this, is just like you just have to figure it out and adapt, when it comes to these first 2 years.
Wow, you are exceptionally smart. Exceptionally smart. Like, you are definitely the definition of and the epitome of what it is to have drive and to go after what you want. Like, that's
Thank
amazing. And to
you.
be able to have balance while doing it. Being
Yeah.
married, having property, and having a family, and going to school. Like, that's a lot for one woman to have
Yeah.
on her plate. So be able to
Yeah.
do it
Thank
so
you.
gracefully is and look good while doing it.
Girl, thank you. Because let me tell you, it be a struggle. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay. So my next question is, what's your take on the growth of minority healthcare workers?
um, so what do you mean by that? Like how we're
So,
growing?
uh-huh.
Okay.
So more specifically us. I know that there is now, as years have gone on, there has been a bigger population of us growing
Mm-hmm.
and starting to get more into the health field. At one point, there was a very, very small percentage of us. A
Right.
very small percentage, whether it be nurses, whether it be doctors, whether it be nurse practitioners. But as years have gone on, they have been diversifying healthcare
Mm-hmm.
fields. And we are doing a lot more, stepping up to the plate, being in bigger positions, management roles, becoming doctors, and all of that type of stuff. So, what do you feel about where it was then and how it is now? How it has progressed?
Okay. Thank you for that context. So I do see the progression. I can say that I feel like we have so far to go. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
the statistics. But I see the difference. I have like been in places where I've seen other African American people, right? And
Uh-huh.
so that makes a difference for me. It's one thing to have minorities, it's another thing to have African Americans, right? I feel
Right.
like in America, our struggle is different than any other race, any other
Absolutely.
population, any other people group, right? The African American journey in
Mm-hmm.
America is it's just unique. It's just different. So
Yes.
I feel like when opportunities are given, everyone else sometimes get them before the African
Mm-hmm.
American, right? So
Yes.
that I feel like we have gone, like we've made some strides, but I feel like we have so much, just so much further to go, so much more that can be done. I will say that my experience post George Floyd, I have seen a tremendous just change in places,
Mm-hmm.
institutionally, the awareness, the different things that has even been afforded to me at my school. I just know that I almost kind of feel like the red carpet has been laid out for me because
Absolutely.
we are the first class that's like back in person since George Floyd. People started last year, but it still was like, do we still wear our masks?
Right.
Can we still do things? So to see like everything be opened up and to see the initiatives and the things that have changed, and I can talk about my school specifically, like you just see more black people in leadership. You can
Mm-hmm.
tangibly see the changes that they are making.
Yes.
But the struggle is still real, right? The struggle is still
Listen,
there.
it
When I worked
is.
as an anesthesia tech, I had an anesthesiologist. He was a resident, and as a resident, you're a doctor. You're just still overseen by a more senior doctor to teach
Uh-huh.
you like how to work on. But he walked into a room one day, and it was a nurse or somebody, and she was just like, who are you? What are you doing here? And he showed her his badge, like, I'm the doctor. And she's like, I didn't know. You could have been maintenance. You could have been housekeeping. Like, and so the disrespect,
Really?
the stuff is still there, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, he's a whole doctor,
No, for
but
real.
you still get stuff like that. But at the same time, I do see that there is an increase in awareness. I do see that, people acknowledge us. You do see more of us there.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like we still have a long way to go.
Absolutely. I really believe that there is a fine line between us belonging and people not liking us belonging.
Yeah, for
Like the
sure.
point you just made, I deserve to be here, but because you're not expecting me to be in this type
Yeah,
of position, you still want to kind of discard what I've done to get here, type of
yeah.
thing. You know what I mean? I feel like we are stepping on heads.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I feel like I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm actually happy that my people get opportunities now.
Yeah,
You know what I
for
mean? That
sure.
we get the same opportunities as our peers. We get the same opportunity as, people that don't look like us. We get the same opportunity
Mhm.
as the person that went to the same type of schooling with the same type of degree, in the same type of field. So it makes me
Yeah.
feel so good to know how far we've come. And absolutely, we still have a long way to go. But it
Yeah.
makes me feel good that it feels like the work is not in vain.
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right. Even while you're talking, I'm like, I have a lot of friends who are black women, black men who are attending. They're doctors, right?
Uh
They're
huh.
running the show. When they're at the hospital, everybody's reporting to them. They're the doctor in charge. They are the attending. And so like literally it's while you're talking, I'm like, dang, I have, friends who are bosses. Like I have friends
Ah, ain't
reach
that
out
dope?
to. Yeah, so dope. Like
Yes.
even with me becoming a doctor, I had people I could reach out to. One of my friends is a surgeon. She wrote my letters of recommendation, right? And so that is like a
That's
huge
dope.
to say, hey, I have a friend who's a black woman, not, some other, but a black
Right.
woman who is a surgeon. She's an attending and she wrote my letter of recommendation and she's a friend, not like, oh, a teacher that I
Somebody I
know,
used to work
someone
for.
like
Yeah.
I'm rubbing elbows with other
That's
doctors.
so
So yeah,
dope.
like
That's so
that's
dope.
yeah.
And just imagine the type of circle you building though, because I feel like the
Yeah,
circle that you're around, the circle that you're building, y'all are like real dominant. Like y'all
that's
really
true.
crushing heads out here.
Yeah.
I
Stepping
love it
on
to be
it.
able to be, good friends with a surgeon that's a black woman.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
really, really dope. Like our melanin is really
yeah.
popping out here.
Okay,
Like it
seriously,
really, it really,
seriously.
really is. But it warms my heart and it makes me feel good to be able to see, people like yourself striving to, to
Yeah.
get where they want to be, and ones that have already made it, ones that are paving the way
Hmm.
for others. So it's an amazing honor to be just a part of the group.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
amen.
Just to
Like,
be like,
it's so good.
you know what I'm saying? Just to be like, yep,
Yeah,
I'm not a doctor,
yeah,
but hey, that's this.
yeah.
That's another
No,
black woman that
seriously,
I can apply.
seriously. I have I'm the second oldest of 15 children. I got 9 brothers, five
How many?
sisters, so 15.
Woo wee.
Well, yeah, I'm the second oldest of 15. Yeah, I got 9 brothers, 5 sisters, and they
Oh
all
my
see, like,
gosh.
my sister's a doctor, my nieces, my nephews, like my sister's a doctor. And that is so beautiful because for a long time that wasn't a thing, right? Like, we definitely didn't have anyone in our family who we can be like, oh, let me go shadow that person, or I have a family
Right.
member I can go ask for advice. Um, because what I learned is that a lot of people in medical school, they do come from a family of doctors. So they understand the process of getting into medical school, how to take an MCAT, how to study for this stuff. They, get
Mm-hmm.
shadowing experience from a family member where we just be like trying to figure it out, because we
Yeah.
don't have that same experience. So that is very encouraging for me to be that for other
That's
people.
amazing. I really, really
Yeah.
love that. So in school, doing all of your tests and doing all of the things that you need to do to achieve this big goal, have you decided what you actually want to be when it comes to doctoring? What field do you want to operate in? Because I know you
So
said you got like 10.
So I'm gonna preface it like this. I have been told by my mentor to keep an open mind, right? When that
Okay.
third year comes and I'm going to rotations, to really go into each rotation like, this is what I want to do, to make sure that I'm giving it a fair shot. However,
Okay.
I previously worked as an anesthesia tech, so I have an interest there in anesthesia as being an anesthesiologist. But more
Okay.
recently, over the past summer, I did research with anesthesia and orthopedic surgery, and now I'm very
Whoa.
interested in being an orthopedic surgeon. So,
Okay.
I've had some opportunities and experiences come up, with me actually pursuing that route of becoming an orthopedic surgeon. And I have to give a shout out. Like, there are organizations out here trying to increase the amount of melanin in these
I love
spaces
it.
because what I will tell you is that there is an article, I think either Stanford or John Hopkins put it out there, and it talks about how orthopedic surgery is the widest specialty in all of medicine, right?
Wow.
Um, and ironically, that's something that I'm looking to pursue. So I have an interest there. I like the OR. I really think I really like the
Mm-hmm.
OR. So I have an interest in orthopedic surgery, have an interest in anesthesia. So I'm kind of up in the air, with those two. But like I said, when I get to my rotations, I'll get a feel for everything. But one thing I want to say while I'm on this point, for anybody who's listening who, decide to take gap years before getting into medical school, one thing I would say is, while you're taking those gap years, do things that will benefit you for when you get into medical school. Because when
It's a
it's
good
time to
idea.
actually become a doctor, whatever specialty you want to be in, 9 times out of 10, you're going to need some kind of research, right? So I already have that under my belt. While a lot of my colleagues are scrambling trying to figure out, where am I going to do research? Will I get a research opportunity, over the summer? And
Mm-hmm.
so, although I've taken all these gap years, I've also set myself up in a place where it's advantageous for me as a medical student, right? I have certain experiences, I have certain contacts, I have research, and things like that. So that's just my little tidbit for anybody who's taking gap years but looking to go to medical school.
That's a really good idea. So do you recommend that they do or have that type of experience under their belt with the medical center, with the clinic, with the doctor's office? Like, what's the easiest way for them to obtain that?
I think the best thing is if you can get, experience with the doctor's office and a
Mm-hmm.
hospital, but any experience you can get is good. Contacts matter. When you get into medicine, who you know, it makes a huge difference, especially with COVID. Like, people
Yeah.
aren't just allowing you to go shadow anymore. There's so many like stipulations. So if you
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of what you call it, scribes, like medical scribe jobs, or like stuff that you can do part time, just some experience to have your foot in the door to kind of help you as you progress on
That's a
becoming a
really good
doctor.
idea. Now, should they do that also while attending school, or should that just be something they do over the summer, or maybe like a part-time job type thing?
Whatever is most feasible for them. I would just
Okay.
encourage them, just to have something, because you need shadowing experience to get into medical school. You're going to need
Mm-hmm.
research. So if you can do that, in undergrad, or do that while you're taking gap years and come to medical school with that already under your belt, when it becomes time for you to apply for residency, you already have something to put on your application. You already have
Right.
like beefed up your application in that sense. So it's only more helpful to you to get it done if you have the time to.
That's awesome. Okay, so my last question for you before I let you go.
Okay.
How important are doctors? And the reason why I say this is because you have a lot of seasoned generations that don't believe in doctors. You have a lot of people that you probably heard this term before, white collar phobia, where a
Mm-hmm.
doctor that's in a white coat, they're kind of scared because of an experience that they encounter or had, where it kind of
Yeah.
deters them away from seeing a doctor. A lot of us like to self-diagnose ourselves because we Google everything. And like you mentioned, there could be 1,000 different ways, or a thousand different, symptoms that you have, and we're diagnosing ourselves with just this one because of all the symptoms meeting, when it may not
Right.
even be, so how important are doctors when it comes to those type of situations?
That is a great question. And I'm really, really glad you asked that. So, first of all, we get a ton of training. Like I said, I'm in medical school for 4 years, and whatever I go to specialize in, I'm going to be a resident for 3 to 5 years. There is so
Uh-huh.
much schooling and education that goes behind what we do as professionals, all of the medical education that doctors have. It's important. I think about, like, even if you needed a plumber for your house, right? If you needed a plumber, they have the skill set. They understand, they know where to go, what to do, what they need to
Correct.
fix. You have not done that. And you can Google it, but there are certain
Right.
things you don't know. You don't know about this type of piping. You don't know about, what you're going to unloop, how the
Absolutely.
sewage system work, all of those different things. But those people have been educated. They have been trained to do a particular job. That's the
Yes.
same thing with physicians, right? Like, we're scientists. We are well educated. We are well trained. Um, and we're here for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Healthcare professionals, especially doctors, we are here for you. And what I would say or encourage people who kind of have phobia of doctors, get a second opinion,
Yeah.
but if you knew everything, you probably wouldn't be in the position you're in. So what I would say to that
Just
is,
saying.
doctors are scary. And I don't want to be insensitive to the African American community. We have gone
Yes.
through a lot where people have experimented on us, took us through a
Yes.
lot of things. However,
Yes.
we are at a point, where there are laws and rules and things in place where you can't just willy nilly take people's
Right.
cells without their, permission and things like that. So I would encourage people, like, yes, do your research. Yes, you don't have to be, super, super trusting, but I will say we're educated. Doctors are educated. They go through a lot of schooling to do what they do. And so trust them, right? Like, they are
Yes.
here for a reason. Doctors are here for you. If you don't trust one doctor, get a second opinion. But don't trust yourself, who is not educated, who's not a scientist, who hasn't,
Yes.
gone through all of the schooling that a physician has gone through. I would say do your research, take the proper
Absolutely.
precautions.
And
Yeah.
definitely don't trust yourself. Absolutely.
And
You know what?
Google.
I am just starting now to get used to the whole new technology stuff, because they have stuff like ZocDoc, and stuff where you can
Yeah.
actually conference call your doctor, and you
Hmm.
know and things like that. And I'm not old school because I'm not that old, but I'm used to
Yeah.
going to a doctor's office, sitting with
Hmm.
a physician, telling a physician what's the matter, us having some
Yeah.
dialogue, having conversation back and forth. You know what I mean? Him telling me what it is that I need to do. And so I'm trying to get used to this new era of the way things are
Hmm.
being done, because I do know
Yeah.
healthcare is something that's not going anywhere, and it's something that's
Nope.
steadily advancing.
Hmm.
There's so many things happening with healthcare from day to
Yeah.
day and from year to year, and it just grows at
Hmm.
this point. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I think it kind of takes the personalization out of it for me.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It really takes
Yeah.
out the meaning to me. You know what I mean? And so I find
Mm.
myself having to kind of be humble. Just a little
Yeah.
bit, because there is still something that I do need, and no matter how I get it, I need to make sure I get it done. And of course, the benefit is in me. The benefit is for me. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
however I can obtain it or get it done, get the questions answered. That's exactly
Mm-hmm.
what I definitely need to do. So, are you
Yeah.
more a personal doc, or are you okay with the virtual doctoring?
So I love people, so
Yeah.
I am personable. I love it, but I do see the benefits. So I'm a translator, a Spanish translator at our free health clinic at my
Uh huh.
school. And when COVID was happening, we couldn't be in person. And so I've seen the benefits, a physical exam, there's nothing like a physical exam. Like a patient can tell you, oh, I'm feeling this, my hip is hurting, this. But as a doctor, you're trained to be able to notice certain things, what they do when you touch
Exactly.
a certain part, etc. But there is benefits, right? Like if people have transportation issues, especially for minority communities and underprivileged communities, like there's a
Yes.
benefit of having telehealth. But I am all for in person. Physicians get paid a lot. Like if I'm paying you, you
Yeah.
need to see me. I want to be
Uh
right
huh.
here. I want you, to know what's going on. But at the same time, I do understand if, you know, we don't have an opportunity to be in person, I could do like the over the phone thing. So I feel you. I'm like you. I'm like I'd rather be in person. I'd rather you see
Yes.
me. Let's talk about it. I have all the questions. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm that person, if it's any kind of, limping, ache, pain, any of that,
Hmm.
doc, uh, what's going on? I need you to see me so you can let me know if one side is, a little wobblier
Yeah.
than the other
Hmm.
side. We need to get it
Yep.
together, sir, so we can figure out what's going on. You are going to
Hmm.
be an amazing doctor, and I
Oh,
am
thank
so
you so
excited for you
much.
and your journey.
Thank you.
I remember your story is just so amazing to me, and I tell young ladies your story all the time.
Oh, that's so
And
sweet. Thank
it's not my story to
you.
tell, so I'm not going to, give that information out. But I tell a lot of young ladies about this story. And I remember the first time I encountered you, we attended the same church, and
Hmm.
I gave you a ride home from Bible study one night. And we were
Yeah.
just in the car talking, and we were talking like we had been girlfriends for a very long time. And you have always been
Hmm.
a solid young woman. You have always been true to who you are. And I admire that, and I value that, because it's
Thank
a lot of young
you.
ladies who I've encountered or who I've known for, several years, who,
Hmm.
allowed life, you know what I mean, to turn them upside
Yeah.
down, but to know that
Yeah.
you went through it, but you stood on top of it.
Hmm.
And to be
Yeah.
as solid as you are from then until now, that's amazing. That's really,
That
really
is so
amazing.
meaningful. Thank you so much.
You
I'm
are
about to
so
cry. I'm
welcome.
like,
You've always been solid, and
oh,
so
thank
every time I get
you.
the opportunity to tell a young lady your story, I always try to do that as well. Me and my mom still talk about you today.
Oh, that's so
Yeah, we
sweet. Tell
still
her I
talk
said
about you
hi.
right today, because your story is just one that took a lot of strength. It took a lot of dedication. You know what I mean? It took a
Yeah.
lot of humbleness, and for you to just be flourishing the way that you are, like a palm tree. You know what I
Thank
mean? It's
you. Thank
amazing,
you.
and I'm so
Thank
glad to be able to witness
you.
it. Like really, really
Thank
be able to
you.
witness it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day just to come and hang with me at the lounge, to have a good conversation about you being a doctor. Cause listen, since you about to bust the door down, okay?
Listen, the Lord is opening up the heavens, okay?
Listen, and pouring them out,
Thank
okay? Pouring them
you.
blessings out.
Thank
Is there
you.
anything you want to say to the people before I let you go?
I want to say thank you,
You
Shay,
are
for
so
having
welcome.
me on the Queen's Lounge. Like, this has been awesome. I really appreciate the encouragement. Hopefully, people are encouraged in the story that you're
Yes.
talking about. My husband and I are going to try to, get a YouTube channel
Please do. And
and
if you
just
don't
talk
mind, if you got
about it.
time, if you want to share a little bit of it.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like right now?
Uh-huh. If you got
Okay, I
time.
gotta go. Yeah. So I'm gonna give y'all a high level overview, and then we'll do like I keep telling my husband, I'm like, I need to just get on YouTube, like talk about the story because
Yes.
a lot of people
Because it's
ask about it.
amazing. It's
But
amazing.
long story short, I got saved when I was 19, right? I was coming out of a really bad relationship and I was just like committing my life to the Lord. Like, I don't want to be in a relationship, I don't want to do anything. And I started praying. One of my friends gave me a book called God is Your Matchmaker. And I was praying. I had never even heard of anybody praying for their spouse or like whatever that meant. So fast forward like a year, fast forward a couple of months. Oh, let me tell y'all this. I forgot about this. The school I go to, the school where I go to, that is where I met my husband. All the way back in
Wow,
2008.
really?
Like
Wow.
it's so the Lord. I met my husband in 2008 at the same medical school I go to. We were both pre-med
Wow.
and undergrad. There was a medical conference, meet him there, and that's that. So
Yes.
like I said, high level overview, started praying to the Lord about like who my husband is. I did not pray for Sean. I tell people that I like was really praying for who the Lord had for me, what he had for me. Over the
Mm-hmm.
years, the Lord revealed to me that it was Sean. And so because of that, for like 5 years straight, I never dated, didn't talk to anybody else. Nothing. People thought I was crazy. Even people at my church. It was like, girl, your husband here. And like the Lord
Nope,
showed me.
not budget.
So what, about 6, 7 years later, Sean and I like reconnected in our friendship, got engaged. It was crazy because people thought I was crazy. And so the amount of text messages I got the day that we got engaged was insane. People were apologizing, like, I'm so sorry for doubting you, like you knew. And it was
Yeah.
easy, but the same thing, the same way I started this talking about the Lord showed me that, becoming a doctor is for me. It was the same thing with my husband. And so
Mm-hmm.
I like to encourage people, like, having a relationship with the Lord is so important, right?
Yes, it
Because that's my
is.
anchor, right? If no matter what happened, come what may, like, that's my anchor. Oh Lord, this is what you said. Let's go, right?
That's
Like, you
it.
can, Lord, he's faithful. He like he doesn't
All
lie.
that.
He's never confused the way that we are as humans. So that was that quick overview or whatever. But yeah, so I married the guy the Lord said is my husband, and here we are. But yeah, I'll give you guys more details. That was very high level, quick overview.
Yes. You have to listen to the story in its entirety. And as soon as they start a YouTube channel, I'm gonna let y'all know. So y'all
Yeah,
can tune in. How long have you been married?
we have been married now for 6 years, going on 7 in July.
Woo wee. July. What year in July? I mean, what
July
date?
July 8th.
Okay, okay. My
Yeah.
son's birthday is the 16th.
Oh, nice, 8
Yeah,
days
that's
later.
amazing. I love, 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 love your story because it took a
Thank
lot of
you.
discipline, a lot of commitment, a lot of determination, and you did it. You
Yeah,
definitely did it.
amen.
And look at you now.
Yeah, girl.
Like, man,
Beauty for
listen.
ashes.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So I can't wait until this channel starts so I can tune in, so I
Yes.
can hear it again.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
it was
for
such an
sure.
encouragement the first time. And it was a really, really amazing, y'all. So y'all definitely have to listen to it whenever they get
Yeah.
time and they're able to share their story. But it was amazing. It's just a testament to show you be faithful to God. He
Come
gonna be
on.
faithful to you. I promise you.
Period.
I
Period.
promise you that.
He is trustworthy.
Yes, I promise you that. And anything, I
Yeah.
mean, just it was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. So listen, sis, thank you so much. Listen, this won't be the first or
Yes.
last time I invite you on the show. This has been an amazing conversation. I'm so excited for
Yes.
you. I will continue to lift you up as you continue this journey to destiny.
Same.
You know what I mean? Because it's amazing. You knocking doors down, stepping on heads, and giving God glory all the way there. So I'm so
Yes.
excited for you and the husband. And the best
Thank
is yet to come.
you. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Like I
Absolutely.
said again, thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for y'all for tuning in. As soon as this video is uploaded, please check it out. Please listen to what Miss Daniel had to say and tune in and be on the lookout, okay, for her YouTube channel that's coming.
Yes, y'all.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I'll holler at you
All
later.
right. Okay.